The global equity markets. Let's shift focus and tell you what's going on in the commodity and currency space overnight. Manisha Gupta joins in, as always, to give us a quick update. Hey Manisha, good morning.
Morning, Nigel. Thank you so much for that. Well, as we have seen, the end in 2018, 2019 has begun on a very, very volatile note, especially for the crude oil prices. There was a point that we saw nearly 2% decline in the crude oil prices until the European markets, and then it surged by 5% in the New York session and has closed nearly 2.5% overnight on the higher side. Well, there have been statements from the Algeria oil minister saying that the crude oil prices should come back to 65 to 70, and if the current output cuts are not enough, they would be reviewed and more would be done in the April review meeting. Also, when you look at the latest data that has come in, the Saudi Arabia oil exports already have declined by 500,000 barrels for the month of December. And remember, the OPEC and the 10 other allies who have joined OPEC in output cuts also will start publishing their exact output and exports by the end of Jan. So markets really do believe that there is enough and more that the OPEC and allies will do to ensure that there is no oversupply situation as we get further into 2019. So that purely has been supportive, and you saw the crude oil prices surge back in yet again. The markets, of course, would want to watch out for the U.S. non-farm payroll data on Friday. The macro data the direction would come in from that. And the most important really is going to be about the Fed chair's speech is on Friday on the state of economy, on where we are headed in sense of further state of affairs. That would tell you on where most of these asset classes are headed.
Thanks a lot for that, Manisha. Well, from commodities, let's move on to derivative space then, and Manglam Malu, who joins us with all the cues from the F&O space.
Hi there, good morning. So, yesterday what we saw was the Nifty futures premium did decline from about 50 points to 38 points. That is something that we've been witnessing over the last 3 trading sessions, from 54 points on December 31st to about 38 points as we speak. That's telling you the FIs are pulling out money from the index futures as well. And yesterday's data suggested, yes, there was a big selling by the FIs in index futures, stock futures, as well as the cash markets. Nearly 600 crores pulled out of the cash markets, while 800 crore worth selling in index futures. So let's talk about the index futures space itself. The FIIs added nearly 2 short contracts per long contract. Around 19,000 short contracts were added, and with that the FII long exposure now goes back to 50%, which was at the start of this series. So FIIs are now 50% long, 50% short. However, if there is downside, the foreign institutional investors do believe that there is protection which they are ramping up from the start of this series. Close to around 68,500 long puts have been added, seeking protection on the downside, and this compares with just about 29,000 long calls that have been added, seeking an opportunity on the upside. As far as yesterday's trading session is concerned, we managed to hold on above the 200-day moving average, and the FIIs, while they bought index puts, they also sold index puts to the tune of the same amount in which they bought. 15,500 short put contracts were added. Even if one believes that that is added on the Nifty Bank spot is at 27,175, and the lower level maximum open interest in terms of puts is at 27,000. So let's see whether that mark holds or not, given the SGX Nifty indicates a mild bump up. More importantly, for the Nifty itself, the put writers at 10,900 shed some open interest. 11,000 looks like a distant dream now. Call writing witnessed out there, and the stocks that saw that saw selling were the auto pack as well as the metals pack. So Eicher Motors, M&M, JSW Steel, Tata Steel, as well as Vedanta, all of them seeing some fresh short positions being added.
Okay, all right, Manglam, thanks so much for that. Well, let's get you some trading picks for today. Onto our bullseye corner then. This week we have Samit Chavan, Manish Sharma, as well as Gaurav Bisa. All of them are battling for the strongest portfolio. So let's hear out their picks for today.
My first call is buy call in BL at the rate 90, place the stop loss at 87 and look for the target from 95. My second call is buy call in Marico at the rate 373, place the stop loss at 369 and look for the target from 385. My third call is buy call in HDFC Life at the rate 391, place the stop loss at 385 and look for the target from 400. My last call is sell call in Hindustan Zinc at the rate 278, place the stop loss at 281 and look for the target from 270.
Our first call is a buy call on Sun TV for a target of 652, stop loss 598. Second buy would be on BEML for a target of 988, stop loss 894. Our third buy would be on BEL for a target of 96, stop loss 86.5. And final call would be a buy call on Jaicor for a target of 126, stop loss 109.4.
buy call on Anaditech for target price of 1175, keeping the stop loss at 1135. Buy on Sun Pharma for target price of 450, keeping the stop loss at 430. The third recommendation today would be a buy call on L&T Infra for target price of 1760, keeping the stop loss at 1700. Sell call on Voltas. The stop loss for this would be around 545. The stop loss, the targets for this would be around 530 to 525.
Well, that's all we have on Power Breakfast today. Bazaar Morning Call comes up next.